Hey everybody, you're about to watch a brand new clip of the Jersey Comic Krew from our full episode, and we are talking about everything about the Legion of Superheroes coming back into DC Comics, as well as Scott Snyder bringing back the JSA.
Starting right now. So, in the world of comic books, we have some superhero teams coming back.
Yes.
So we have the Legion of Superheroes are returning in September with Micheal Bendis writing and Ryan Shook drawing.
Yes, drawing. Yes.
Drawing. He makes the pictures.
Yes, he does. That's
go ahead.
Really big.
So the Legion of Superheroes, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They're just a Justice League from the future, right?
Basically, yeah. They're from the 31st century, and it's a federation of planets that are all finally in peace, and there are heroes that go to Earth and that are on Earth from different planets and everything.
So it's one from each planet or something.
Not necessarily one, but there's a bunch of different planets. It's like that. It's like, think of it as like the Green Lantern Corps mixed with the Justice League.
Okay.
And you know, like Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl and all these characters, Brainiac 5, they will all be back. And Bendis has been apparently starting this process since he started the Superman arc, which is what I wanted to talk to you about, because there's been a lot of people talking about, hey, like in Legion, in the old Legion books, there's always been like a Superboy or a Superman there, or Supergirl has gone to the future to live in that because it's closer to what she's used to on Krypton before it exploded. There's been a lot of talk about like, wow, like Bendis literally aged John just to throw him to the Legion and have him in his Legion book. What do you think about that?
I think that is terrible.
I think it's fucking terrible.
I think it is the stupidest thing he could have done.
I don't know, man. Like
I don't think that you age up a character perfect as a young boy. You know, you have him work with the Teen Titans. He's not even in the Teen Titans. He should be, but that's besides the point.
That was such a great issue too.
Him working. He's like, oh, you're not old enough yet. But him doing the stuff with Damian, like they have their own little like mini Batman and Robin, like Batman Superman tag team book as kids. Running the whole time. He aged him up, and now he's going to send him off to like this dead zone where most people are not going to read this book and most people aren't going to care.
Oh, no. Definitely not. This is going to have a huge following.
I think this is effectively killing off John.
I don't think it's killing off John. I think it's messing up the Superman book.
More so, yeah. I can't stand the Superman book. For
the aspect of throwing John to the future.
As soon as he's done that, like I'm not fond of any time I read a Superman book. It just doesn't feel like Superman to me anymore.
I mean, it does feel like Superman. I just think they've been dwelling on the same thing for a long time with his father, and
that arc should have ended.
I think the problem is that we had this glimpse of John and Damian being like the young version of World's Finest and best friends, and we had, Super Sons, and Pete Tomasi did Super Sons and Adventures of Super Sons.
Yeah, so both of them are really good.
And the second you age him, it ruins that whole thing.
Yep.
You ruin the friendship. The age gap is different. You gave people a reason to like Damian with John.
He's great with John. They play off each other so well.
They could have aged up together in a way that should be natural and normal, and you age John in this he was on Earth 3 and blah, 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 just so you could have your Superboy in the Legion, which, what I don't get is this. The whole time, Lois and Clark have been very protective of John. They had this whole thing with, Clark teaching John, basically Clark seeing what he went through from his dad's perspective, which was awesome. And this natural growth and, the classic Superman line, the father becomes the son becomes the father. And you have this natural progression. And then he goes off with his grandfather and gets stuck on this planet for years at a time in that realm. Yeah. And it comes back 17. And basically it's now he's probably going to go to the Legion. So, you just had Superman hate himself for letting his son go with his grandfather and aging 5 years.
And now you're going to let him go.
And now you're going to let him go to the 31st century?
What is Supergirl doing, by the way?
Supergirl has Rogol Zaar's staff. She was She was out there in the cosmos confirming that Rogolzar destroyed Krypton or had something to do with it.
Okay.
She found out that it was true, and it wasn't just him. It was like this evil council type thing.
Okay.
Who decided Krypton's fate. So she is trying to find those people in that. So she's doing her own thing.
I think, hindsight's 20/20.
Of course.
Superman should be doing that with John,
mm-hmm.
and you have Supergirl go be with these future people.
But then who's dealing with the father?
That should have ended. That should not even be an issue anymore.
I agree.
They should have wrapped that up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, John, oh my God, it was a disease he planted in you. We took it out of you. You're back to your normal looking self. These were all brainwashed.
We don't know. That could still happen.
Now let's go fight Rogolzar and go do this like father and son space adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! And then fuck Supergirl. Nobody beats her anyway. You put her up into super people, and then people are gonna like it. Be like, oh, Supergirl's actually really good.
I think.
Cool. You promote a character.
I think.
Instead of killing one.
I think Supergirl in the Legion is a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't know how they because of now. I don't know how they would do it because of what we actually have. You know what I mean? It seems like the setup is going to be John's going to go to the Legion somehow. Like I don't know how Lois and Clark would allow it. John goes to the future, does his own thing, and they do like the cheat where it's like, well, he has that time space jump thing that he could use to come back anytime he wants. Blah blah blah. And it's like,
if he was young John and he went with Damian, maybe it'd be fun for like an episode or two. Or issue or two.
Yeah, like I don't know. I just think it's a weird aspect, and who knows? There could be, John could not go, and the Legion could come in and be like something is wrong with him, and they figure out that he shouldn't be this age, and they de-age him, and that becomes part of the storyline. Like, or he needs to come to the future so we could get him right. He becomes sick or something. You know what I mean? Like you know how Bendis can be. Sometimes it's like, what are you doing? And then it's like, oh, I get it now. You know what I mean? So
if they take him to the future and they have an adventure. And he's there for one arc or two, a couple arcs, and they're trying to bring him back to normal age.
Yes.
I guess I could accept it. I don't like it. For me,
but if he got back to his normal age, I think if that's the point, I would go through it to get him back to normal. You know what I mean? Like I don't know though.
I don't change in the first place.
But no, he shouldn't have. But that's what we deal with.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Bendis is writing both action and
Superman.
You get rid of John and Superman, they're the same book.
No. Action's so much more deep.
Yeah, no, I get it, but what's the key differential between the two is what Superman does, right? And it's also the family aspect of Superman in the Superman book.
100%.
You get rid of his family. What's your angle with that book?
Oh, meaning Superman by itself. Okay.
Yes.
I think the angle is it's also tone, right? Like it's the same thing with Batman and Detective. Detective is the more like Batman, going into detective mode, being the best detective in the DC universe, figuring out the clues and the cases. Batman's way more of the pedal to the metal, fist in face, I'm the badass Batman of Gotham City.
Okay.
Superman in action, yes. Superman is the family-oriented Clark Kent. And he's, I think another thing that pisses me off is that Lois just is doing her own thing.
Yeah.
Not useless, but she's like, yeah, I don't need to be home, and we're married, but I don't need to be home. You could just come by for a booty call every once in a while. And I'm just like, the fuck? That. And
in action, they actually feel like a family.
Yeah. That to me in Superman feels the worst because I'm like, you two are supposed to be the biggest couple in this entire universe. Right? Lois and Clark are supposed to be the couple, like MJ and Peter. That's what you are.
See, when you go to Detective and Batman, I get it. But it's also two different creative teams, two people telling the stories.
Yes, 100%.
So when you have somebody who's writing both sides of the character, generally, it's a different tone so somebody else could tell their story with him.
Yeah.
You already have an opportunity to tell your story. For me, I feel like, all right, if Bendis is going to do this, you got to get rid of him on one of the books and let somebody else have a voice in Superman.
I don't know if...
Because the Superman book, honestly... I haven't picked it up.
Here's the thing.
It's not worth it. I mean, I read it, but it's not worth it.
But here's the thing. So, one, there's no way they're going to do that.
No, because it's his name.
Because it's Bendis, and they basically, to get him to DC, they're like, do whatever the hell you want. And number two, I agree with the upsettedness and the lack of what we have now and what feels right and what doesn't feel right. But at the same time, we haven't read the full story yet.
I get
and that's what
I
it comes
know.
down to.
It's like me judging news before I see a trailer. I get it.
But judging it on what we have,
I think
I
it's
agree with
horseshit.
you. I think the action book is really good, and the
Very
action
good.
book is like Leviathan started, and
I'm not big on Leviathan,
like-
but I like it.
well, we really don't know what it is yet. So
I'm just saying.
I'm in on the questionable stuff. I'm in on having Clark like having to deal with things that he can't just punch his way out of. I like those things, but I think the Superman book is not a Superman book right now because it's more of a Legion preview book. It's a Legion prequel book. Like, did you read the Leviathan special issue?
Yes.
That was a preview book for the Lois Lane book and the Jimmy Olsen book.
Yes.
That wasn't that was like this much of like, hey, this is kind of what Leviathan is, and then this is what they're going to do. This is like a preview for buying this shit, which I hate.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know. He is bringing back the Legion is going to be extremely important for a lot of people. But I never think that you should sacrifice a book to get to something other type of
Correct.
book. You need to make sure that book is good
Or
too.
sacrifice a character.
Sacrifice a character, especially not your fucking golden goose character. So I don't think Superman has been that good. I think they need to right the ship. And if that, like Dan Jurgens wouldn't have done that.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. No.
And I
Pete
would
Tomasi wouldn't have done that.
I would love to like we've had Tomasi on the show before. I can't wait to speak to him again about this now cuz he created John.
Yeah.
And this whole age gap, and like he created John, and he's writing Batman and Detective, and he's writing Damian right now, and he wrote Super Sons, and he wrote Adventures of Super Sons. So I'd love to get his take on what's going on. Not saying that Bendis is wrong because we haven't seen the full arc, but from what we've seen right now, this is more of a prologue to Legion than it is Superman, and I don't think they do that with Batman. So
No. Got some more DC comic book news for you. Another team is coming back. The JSA is coming back into continuity by writer and comic book fanatic Scott Snyder.
Yes.
So the JSA is the original, the OG superheroes from the Justice League world.
Yep.
I'm more excited about this myself. I like to see where things come from. We kind of saw that, a glimpse of it with Avengers, with the Avengers 1000 BC. Like the fact that being a hero and donning a cape and mask is not something new that, Batman and Superman just decided to do. They have been these stories of people who have done it in the past.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that, it's not just these guys. They aren't the only ones to do it. There's this whole history. This kind of like their current timeline is Justice League. The future is the JSA, and future is the JLA, right?
Future's the Legion.
Legion.
Well, the far future's the Legion. The past is the Justice Society of America.
Thank you. So many acronyms with Justice.
JSA, JLA, Legion.
Yeah.
Legion.
Yeah.
JSA is going to be absolutely...
I'm very excited for this.
I'm so excited. We kind of got the glimpse with Starman in the book right now.
Yes.
Doomsday Clock has been throwing JSA stuff all over the place with Alan Scott's Green Lantern.
Which is great. I can't wait to read Alan Scott Green Lantern.
I can't wait for Alan Scott. I can't wait for Dr. Fate. I can't wait for Flash. I can't wait for all of them. I love JSA. It's been a while since JSA has been in books, and this to me is also confirming what Scott said a couple weeks ago, right? Like the Justice League book is now an event in Justice League.
Yes.
Because they will be in Justice League. It's not going to be like, JSA and New. No, they will be into the Justice League book, where I'm sure the Justice League will have to they're probably like, you're basically go to the Justice League and like, hey guys, you're fucking everything up. like I know you're Superman, but you guys are ruining everything.
Pretty much. I mean, it's great to see because everybody's like, who's the first Green Lantern? Hal Jordan.
No.
Technically not. I mean,
Silver Age, yeah.
For the most people would say yes, but technically not. Who's your first Flash? Barry Allen. Nope. Technically not. So it's all these kind of Dr. Fate's, iconic. He's been around forever.
Yeah.
But I just can't wait for the Justice League book.
Me too, and I hope Scott writes the book when it comes to JSA. Either Scott or Jeff Johns, because those are the only two I can see writing it.
I don't care.
I
can't. I'm not even looking that far ahead. I just want to see them come out.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
I'm just excited.
It's gonna be great. But I'm so excited for them to come back and in Justice League. So it becomes like, hey, we're getting these characters back, and we don't have to buy another book right now. It's not a tie-in. It's not a crossover.
My wallet loves that.
Right? Like it's in Justice League, and Scott's saying like, hey, after 25, Justice League is basically going to be its own event. this is what that means. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting crossover books and tie-ins in just that book, and it's the classic way of storytelling in comics. It's the original way to do things. It's the right way to do things. Where, like, I love War of the Realms, and I know you've been reading every tie-in.
Yes.
But I can't do that.
Some of them you don't need. Some of them are really good.
And I'm sure
but
that,
it's
like,
a lot.
It's a lot.
And it's
a lot of, like, the same part of the story.
I ate ham and cheese for weeks so I could afford my comics.
There you go. Like, a lot of spaghetti.
Cup of noodle today? Yeah, I gotta get the tie-in.
Exactly. So it's like, it's too much at some point. Like,
it is.
There's so many tie-ins. And
I hope, though, I don't know how War of the Realms is going to be released in trade back form. Obviously, we know it's going to be. But hopefully they release it in like an Ultimate Edition where it has all the tie-ins.
Yeah, they're going to do an omnibus, like a hardcover.
Like a hardcover.
Omnibus that'll be like $80 or $100.
I think it'd be worth it. I would tell you, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
But definitely if they do.
For hardcore fans, they're going to get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And fans
they could cut out some of them.
Fans of Jason Aaron's run alone will get it. And, I mean, Jason Aaron's run, to me, the Thor run of Jason Aaron has been absolutely amazing. Him and J. Michael Straczynski are like the top.
Real quick, talking about War of the Realms before we get to the next piece of news. War of the Realms, you know, as I'm reading all the tie-ins, as I'm reading the main books, it is heavily, heavily focused on the next couple issues.
Oh, of course.
If those don't land right, everything is.
Well, there's also one War of the Realms like official title left.
Yeah.
And then the aftermath will be in Thor, and then Jason Aaron's run finishes up in King Thor.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, the one issue and then the aftermath. Like, exactly. It has to be.
Yeah, it has to hit home.
Especially that last issue.
Because it's big, and it's a good series, but it's not blowing me away.
It's not blowing me away.
You know what I mean? Not like Secret Wars did.
Oh, that blew my mind.
Blew me away. What's Hickman? So, but yeah, no, I agree 100%. I'm so much more excited about, personally, Rob and I are, about the Justice Society than the Legion.
I agree, yeah.
Not that I dislike the Legion, I just, the way it has been going about.
I'm not a big fan of Legion, but I don't like the whole John aspect.
Neither do I. I don't like the John aspect, but we don't know about the John aspect officially. But JSA is going to be in Justice League. Can't wait.
More DC news coming at you guys. Tom King, the writer of Batman, explains to us why he's ending the Batman story so early. We know he's doing the new book with Batman, Catwoman, and they're going to introduce the Phantasm.
Oh my God!
From the
I'm
animated
so excited.
series, which, if you're a fan of the show, you're already not of the show, of that show. I mean, of both, really. Yeah. You'll know who that character is. Fantastic character. But Chris, explain to me a little bit more.
Yeah.
What is his exact reasoning? Why is he ending? I know the answer, but
yeah, like it seems like, you know, from what he said, it's a mix between, you know, time placement.
Yes.
He just got, you know, hired to do a script with Ava DuVernay for her New Gods movie, based on the fact that he just wrote the award-winning Mr. Miracle book.
Fantastic.
And there's going to be a lot of Mr. Miracle and Big Barda in this movie.
It's pretty much almost like a live adaptation, from my understanding.
Which, also, kudos to Ava DuVernay for going to a comic creator to be like, hey, you know how to do this shit. Help me do this shit. You know what I mean? Like
why would you not?
Because there... Well, yeah, exactly. I understand why you're saying it.
Yeah.
But there's been, like, for those of you who don't know, there's been a huge gap of, like, comic book movies being made and all these big-time movie moguls and these big-time, like, you know, corporate types not going to the comic creators as the source material because they're like, oh, those are comic book guys. They don't know how to make movies.
Exactly.
They don't know how to write movies.
They can figure it out. It's not hard. A story's a story.
And also, like, even if you brought them on as like a consultant, like, no, these guys know these characters inside and out. Why wouldn't you want their input? Why wouldn't you want their take on it? Like, and for her to hire like Tom King fully for this movie as a co-writer for the script, I think is absolutely brilliant and is a testament to already what she's doing with this.
So he's going to spend a lot of his time doing that.
He's got a lot of writing to do for this movie, and he's going to have to like cut his story short, but he said it's not going to affect anything. And also, it's going to wrap up in Batman Catwoman, which is going to be a 12-issue Max series, which wraps up his Batman run, kind of like how, you know, Last Night on Earth is wrapping up the Capullo Snyder run.
Oh, which is so good, by the way. Badass. We'll talk about that eventually.
And then, you know, this now with the Phantasm, which is a character only, not even from the Batman animated series, technically, just from the movie. Batman and the Phantasm.
Yes, just the movie.
Which is going to throw a great love triangle wrench in, because that character, if you don't know by now, what are you doing?
Do we want to spoil it? Do we want?
It's not a spoiler. It's like 25 years old.
All right.
But like, so
go ahead.
the Phantasm is actually a woman, and she used to have a like, that was like Bruce Wayne's first love. And so to have this kind of like Catwoman and him rekindling what was lost and kind of finishing that whole story, which the whole story has been based around them,
and then have just some
and
woman
throw this
come
wrench
in.
into it. Maybe she's going after the Catwoman. Maybe she's trying to kill Catwoman.
Oh, I thought you meant romantically going after Catwoman.
No, that's just in your mind. But like in reality, like it could be something like that.
Now it's in your mind.
But it's great to have, like, in Batman, we've seen, like, very recently, Pete Tomasi brought in the Arkham Knight from the video games, made it canon.
Great.
Now Tom King's bringing in the Phantasm, making it canon. I think it's awesome. I love it.
Here's my question to you, though. With Tom King saying he doesn't have enough time, and he's leaving at issue 75, if I'm not mistaken?
No, not 75. I think it's going to be in the 80s.
80s. All right. Him doing a 12-issue miniseries, how is that any different from him finishing up his stuff?
Because I think...
Different deadlines? Is that what it is?
I think it's going to be... When you're doing a mini maxi series, there's more leeway for, like, hey, this book got delayed.
Okay.
Or, hey, this book got delayed.
And also,
or, hey,
it's once a month versus twice a month.
Exactly. And they want to keep the regular Batman story going, so they're going to have a new creative team on it, so they could continue the twice-a-month Batman, and he could have his maxi series to finish the story
and then
at his pace.
One a month instead of twice.
Yeah, and probably one every month and a half it's going to be.
That's fine. That gives him a lot of time. All right.
You know what I mean? So it's probably going to be more like that, kind of like how Doomsday Clock is right now, with the massive delays.
Well, I don't think it's going to be as massive with the delay,
no,
but I understand.
Definitely not. But like that's the reason. You know what I mean?
Last little bit of thing that we have to talk about. For you guys following Marvel on Instagram, on Twitter, on any of their social media platforms, you've been seeing this tease for the past couple of days. You saw the 4, 3, 2, 1 in Spider-Man webbing.
Yes.
When it first came out on the first day, we all thought it's a Fantastic Four Spider-Man team-up.
No, I thought it was something different.
Okay.
That's
what I thought.
That was my second thought.
What was your first thought?
My first thought, which was debunked immediately, was the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 movie script that never got allowed in comic form.
Because when they released the 4,
yes,
Alex Ross at the same time released an image of pretty much the Sam Raimi Spider-Man MJ swinging.
Yep.
And we're like, are they making the 4th as a comic? People were running crazy with that story.
That's what I thought,
as if it was
too.
law. They were like, yep, they're making it a comic, which I like that. That sounds cool.
Do too.
They might have to do that.
Now CB Spolk is like, maybe that is a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. But then we saw 3, and then everybody's got debunked. All right, It's a countdown clock. It's a countdown. Like, the internet was going crazy. Yep. We try not to get in too much into craziness. We want to just let it go for a little bit.
I was checking every other hour to see if there was another number.
I was too. But I was like, should I post this and keep the craziness going? No. Let's wait.
Yeah.
So then eventually we find out that Marvel has revealed that J.J. Abrams and his son Henry Abrams are going to be writing a Spider-Man limited series. It's going to be 5 issues.
Yep.
It's going to introduce a new character. Sarah Bocelli is going to be doing the artwork here.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why we needed a countdown clock. I don't think it's that big of news.
I think it's because...
Is it because he's from a movie world and he comes into this?
Well, it's not just the movie world. Like, he is the nerd cultured movie director of our time right now. He's done Star Wars. He's done Star Trek. He is a huge, passionate person for that type of storytelling. You know, Lost was a big epic that he has done.
Very good.
Basically like a independent comic event, right? Like, JJ has been one of those things that has constantly come back when it comes to pop culture, when it comes to nerd culture, and he's a huge comic fan. And I think that's why, he is a well-renowned director.
I'm not saying he's not.
And he is coming into a medium that doesn't get that type of respect as it should all the time.
I agree.
You know, people are like, oh, they write comics, they do art for comics. Like, oh, you do kids' books? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, we build this culture to the point where it's $1 billion industry.
I understand that aspect very much because when I tell people we do a podcast, they're like, oh, my God, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, comic books and movies. They're like, really, comics? Like kiddie stuff?
I get that all the time. That's why I always go, pop culture.
Yeah.
Because they understand that phrase more. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we talk about all things pop culture. Movies, comics, TV, stuff like that.
So they're like, oh, okay, they get it.
Yeah. But still, you could tell it's like, oh, really? Like
when you always say comics.
Exactly.
So I get that. a well-renowned nerd director coming into comics, helps bring a little bit more validity to the medium.
Gives
I get
legitimacy.
that. I do agree that this is a big story, right? Mm-hmm. This is a big news thing. I don't know if this is countdown worthy. For me, when I think countdown worthy, I'm like 5, 4, like a new Spider. I was like, oh, there's Spider-Man 3 is being announced. Oh, Spider-Man is
there's gonna be
transgender man. Like a Spider-Man ripped off his arm and put a robot. Like something crazy I thought we were gonna get. Like Spider-Man grew a tail or something in the latest. I thought we were gonna get something crazy. Tom Holland died. Like I don't know.
That's awful. Why would they count down to that?
I don't know. Maybe they're gonna kill him. Maybe Saul took over the Marvel thing and just Saul was like, you think you're funny, Spider-Man? Bam, and they killed him.
No, honestly, I agree with you though. I thought it was going to be a massive this is either going to be the Spider-Man comic event of the fall winter. Like I was like, oh, could it be that character that's an Amazing Spider-Man right now come to light, and we're gonna find out his identity and Mysterio and what's going on with Steven. I
thought it was the announcement of the new Spider-Man
Nick Spencer.
Game.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
After E3, you do that.
That'd be sick.
The internet would be going crazy. Like this is making news. Like like the New York Times is reporting on this. Like, cool, this is great. Like everybody's talking about it, but like, here is the news for that, right? General half thing. If it's the new Spider-Man game, it's above the screen. You can't even see it.
But I don't think that was the point. I think the point of it was to
bring validity to comics.
Exactly.
Okay, I get that.
For us comic fans who read every week, it's like, oh, that's cool. Like, this is awesome. Like,
that's nice.
He's going to be doing a miniseries, and it's J.J. fucking Abrams.
And his son. You know what I don't like about that? That's just pure, all right, I'm going to get my son a job. He's 20. He's 20 years old. He don't know how to write nonsense. I mean, he might be.
He might be amazing.
He might be amazing. Henry, you know what? I'm just saying this because I'm jealous. You rock,
totally
man. You do well.
Jealous.
But can you imagine, oh, and my son is doing it. But like, what? Who? What has he done? Huh? And they'll be like, oh, I'm having a podcast, and my cousin George, who's George? This is Rob's podcast. Does he even know comic books? And little do you know, he might be amazing. But we don't know this new
guy. You even have a cousin George?
No. You know why? I killed him.
Because I got him out of my life.
I got him out.
But
I have a cousin named Joe.
Oh, that's nice.
Joseph.
Joe dash Seth.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's 2 dashes.
Oh, okay.
So it's Joe.
Joe.
Seth.
Got it. But this is for the normal person, right, who doesn't read comics. The normal person who, knows about movies and TV shows and this and that and the other is reading this in the New York Times and saying, "Oh my God, J.J. Abrams is doing a comic book series?"
True.
You know what I mean? That's why this announcement was like this.
Do you think it's going to sell a lot of comics?
Yes.
Do you think people who aren't comic book readers or just movie fans and super fans are going to grab it?
Yes. Some people will.
I agree.
Some people will.
I'm not saying it won't.
No, I think some people will, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot of people who forget about it after a couple days, and it's going to go. But I think there's going to be some people oh, man, I love J.J. Abrams' work. I'm going to check this out. And it's Spider-Man. I know him from the movies.
How do you think do you think the book's going to be good? I think it's going to be – I have a sinking suspicion it's going to be average.
I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be – so here's the thing. I think it's almost – it might be easier for him to get his vision onto the page because you could draw whatever, right? So in a movie, you have to work with what you have, and the vision might not always come to what you exactly wanted. But this is his imagination can go nuts.
He's like, "Can you draw this?" She's like, "I could draw anything."
Yeah, right. I could draw anything
Sarah Bocelli is like, "I don't like the cover." I know it's not Sarah Bocelli's art. It's
that's Olivier.
Yeah. Mary Jane looks weird.
That's kind of his style.
I understand it's his style.
Painted, yeah.
I don't like his style.
Okay.
But I love Sarah Bocelli's work. So
I like his Spider-Man a lot. His Spider-Man mask is really good. The eyes are so good.
The cover artist?
Olivia, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
I like Olivia Coppola.
I don't like his Mary Jane.
Okay.
But Sarah Bocelli brings
not sexual enough.
I don't know. Her face
not
weird.
J. Scott Campbell enough for you.
No, it's just her face is boxy.
I guess. It's just
she's like a tough broad from the Bronx.
Honestly, well, hopefully. Honestly, the thing I noticed the most out of that cover was the logo.
Yeah.
That classic 90s Spider-Man. Yes, that type of logo. So there's going to be a new villain. It's in continuity, so it's going to affect stuff in the future for Spider-Man. And JJ's writing it, so I'm on board.
I'm down.
And it's Spider-Man, so why not?
Hey, Chris.
And hopefully it brings some more validity.
I got to tell you some more news.
What?
The podcast is over.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, guys, we are out of time.
I got all excited.
I know. I don't have any.
I was like, this one is.
I wish I had something else to say. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you follow us and keep our channel growing on our social media platforms. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you comment down in the comments below if you're watching. Make sure you are giving that like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening, give us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to your audio podcast. Thank you so much for following. As always, I'm Rob Moran.
And I'm Chris Heller.
And we'll see you next time.